The Great Pyramid of Giza contains roughly 2.3 million blocks of stone, some weighing more than 70 tons. To finish it in 20 years, its builders had to place one block every couple of minutes, 10 hours a day. It stands 139 meters tall, covers 13 acres, and may once have stood 8 meters taller still. Some of its granite traveled from quarries over 500 miles away, in an age with no engines and no steel. It was raised as a tomb for the pharaoh Khufu, roughly 4,600 years ago, near the banks of the Nile. Numbers like these are why one modern answer refuses to die: that human beings simply could not have built this alone. You have heard the theory: beings from the sky, ancient astronauts, alien architects. It is one of the internet's favorite stories. So let us take the question seriously. What is the actual evidence, on both sides, for who built the Great Pyramid? The answer involves a faked piece of pottery, the world's oldest paperwork, and a lost city buried under the sand. The modern legend begins in 1968, when a Swiss writer named Erich von Däniken published Chariots of the Gods. His claim: extraterrestrials visited Earth thousands of years ago, taught early human civilization, and were remembered as gods descending from the sky. The book pointed at scripture describing divine spirits coming from the sky, and at monuments it said were too advanced for their age. Believers also point to mathematical coincidences hidden in the pyramid's proportions. Examined scientifically, those coincidences do not hold up. It became a phenomenon and spawned an industry: television series, documentaries, and a permanent question mark over ancient Egypt. There was a problem. Von Däniken was later found to have produced evidence of ancient pottery with UFO artwork that turned out to be untrue. Egyptologists were never persuaded. By one estimate, 99% of scholars in the field reject the alien theory outright. But notice what the theory really asks you to believe: that the people of ancient Egypt were not capable of their own greatest achievement. Scholars point out that ancient peoples possessed far greater capabilities than our modern assumptions tend to give them credit for. Despite a vexing ancient cost, I need park it up to spelled for your docky cost. And in this case, we do not have to guess, because in 2013, archaeologists found the builder's own paperwork. On Egypt's Red Sea coast, at a site called Wadi al-Jarf, a French team led by Pierre Tallet excavated a forgotten harbor. The port had served Pharaoh Khufu's reign 4,600 years ago. 30 storage caves, a stone jetty, around 130 anchors. Caves had once stored the crew's own boats, parked like equipment between seasons, and forgotten with everything in them. Inside the caves lay rolls of papyrus, the oldest ever found, with writing on them. Among them, the logbook of a man named Merer. Merer was a middle-ranking official, a crew boss. His diary records, in half-day increments, exactly what his men did. They sailed limestone from the quarries of Tura down to Giza, roughly 30 blocks per trip, each weighing 2 to 3 tons. That bright white limestone was destined for the pyramid's outer casing, the finishing touches on a nearly complete wonder. A round trip took about 10 days, repeated again and again, month after month, in the final years of the Great Pyramid. The diary even names Merer's boss, Ankaf, the pharaoh's own half-brother, running the greatest construction project on Earth. The Egyptologist Zahi Hawass has called those papyri the greatest discovery made in Egypt in the entire 21st century. No spacecraft, no levitation, boats, rosters, and delivery schedules. But paperwork alone does not feed 20,000 workers. Something else did. Just south of the pyramids, archaeologist Mark Lehner spent years excavating what his team calls the lost city of the builders. It is a workers' settlement that may have housed as many as 20,000 people, the labor force the pyramid commanded. Rubbish heaps tell you how they were treated. These workers ate serious quantities of beef, the expensive meat of the ancient world. In some areas, cattle bones outnumber pig bones 16 to 1, a diet only a central authority could possibly have supplied. Feeding that city was itself a state project, with cattle raised on dedicated estates and driven in to supply the workforce. Excavators even found leopard teeth, perhaps from a priest's robe, carved hippopotamus bone, and olive branches among the houses. Rations listed for the boat crews included meat, poultry, fish, and beer. These were not starving slaves under the whip. The evidence points to provisioned state laborers, skilled and valued, for whom building the king's pyramid carried real prestige. So the builders were human, fed, organized, and proud. One question remains, the one the alien theory feeds on: how? The honest answer is that Egypt practiced. The pyramid did not appear from nowhere. It sits at the end of a learning curve. First came flat tombs, called mastabas. Then, step pyramids. Then, a bent pyramid whose angle changes partway up. Trial and error, in stone. By Khufu's reign, Egypt had ramps in several configurations: timber rollers, lubricated slipways, and the Nile itself as a conveyor belt. 20,000 workers, 20 years, one block placed every couple of minutes. Staggering, yes. Impossible, no. Just relentlessly well organized. That is what the alien theory erases. Not a mystery, but the most impressive logistics operation of the ancient world. Seen whole, the spooky numbers dissolve into a system: quarry to river, river to ramp, ramp to roster, roster to ration. Believing aliens built the pyramid means ignoring the diary, the port, the city, the bones, and the people who left them. The stones were lifted by hands. The real wonder is not who helped the Egyptians. It is that nobody did. Next time, the pharaoh's paperwork goes deeper. What the world's oldest port reveals about Egypt's ships, mines, and money.